It is March 18th. It is day 57 of the Trump presidency. And I wore my nerd tweed suit coat. I mean, it's not a suit because it's just a coat. Jacket. I don't even know what you call this stuff because honestly, I don't dress like this. Only when I have absolutely no choice. But here we are. The interview went very well. I would expect to hear something back from them in the next 48 hours, just about whether or not I'll be included in next steps. There is one more interview that would need to happen before I would either get an offer or they would move forward with someone else. It's nice because I like my job right now very, very much. So even if it doesn't work out, I won't be like super bummed. It would be a cool experience. And it would be at the same company that I'm at right now, but we'll find out. And I don't know how often I would have to dress like this. I would expect some of the time though, because I would have to have video calls with clients again. So I could keep it pajamas on the bottom though, because I work remotely. In any case, let's get into it because we have kind of a lot to cover. So a judge has ruled that DOJA's dismantling, this is a happy story, that DOJA's dismantling of U.S. aid violates the Constitution. He has indefinitely blocked DOJ from making any more cuts to U.S. aid. They are ordering reinstatement, but it's not like people that were fully fired. I don't think they're reinstating every single employee. Anybody that was put on leave, though, is ordered to go back. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the legality if those people want to quit, if they still can't. I mean, of course, I don't think you can like force someone to do a job, but I don't know. In any case, it's really good news. Definitely love to see them fail. Also, love to see, people having some justice in the situation. Again, some permanent damage has for sure been done to that agency, but I don't think we're at a point of complete no return for USAID. Time will tell, right? And again, they're ordering the Trump administration to give them their money back, to bring people back to work, et cetera, et cetera. Will Trump and his team do it, right? This is where it's getting really crazy between Trump and some of these judges, and there's more to come with that. Yikes. The Pentagon officially has plans to cut 60,000 jobs. It'll be interesting to see what this does to the Pentagon. I don't know the total number of employees. That sounds like a lot. Also sounds not good for our economy. And yet here we are. The EPA is cutting scientific research, like basically its whole scientific research program, I think, and planning to fire 1,000 people. Again, not good. It's not good to cut our environmental protections research at a time when the planet is in really dire situation. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like turning off someone's health insurance when they're in the hospital for cancer. It seems like they really need their health insurance right now. It's not good. And yet, here we are. I do think even people who used to be on Trump's side are getting more and more furious with him because more people are starting to call him out in public. Nick Fuentes, actually, that's wild. If you don't know who he is in the first place, he is a right-wing commentator who is just a yappy little kid who's kind of like known for being like a right-wing podcast bro. And he literally released a video saying that the Democrats are right and we're right, and that Trump is essentially just a demagogue. You should go watch the video because it's pretty crazy. It's making circulation quite excessively through TikTok right now because people are feeling vindicated that he was able to admit that, even though that's no like reason to like Nick Fuentes. He has a lot of horrible opinions, but I do still appreciate his ability to like publicly eat crow in that way. That's a pretty big deal, I think, to a lot of people. This pisses me the fuck off. Social Security. The Social Security Administration. See, and this is, sorry, I'm like mid-sentence and then I start saying something else, but I've mentioned that I think a lot of Trump's plan and Doge's plan is if they can't go in and directly slash something to cripple it so much that it's just not functional, or make it so hard for people to utilize that service that they just give up. I don't know what's going to happen for so many people. So long story short, Social Security is now going to be requiring in-person identity checks for both new and existing recipients if they need to make any changes to their bank deposit information, or anything else that requires them to like verify their identity. It's now going to, I don't know if there's any exceptions, because people are freaking out about this, saying most of the people on Social Security can't drive, aren't mobile, and they'll have to drive to a field office, which I'm assuming with all the cuts to Social Security that I don't even know how many field offices we have in this entire country. Do you know what I'm saying? Where are you having these old people drive to where? Right. This is my point, is like they're going to try to make it so impossible for people to use these services that they just give up. I mean, again, people can't give up their Social Security because a lot of people are literally surviving with Social Security. It's a horrible thing to do to people that are already, generally speaking, quite downtrodden. Anyways, the cruelty is always the point for them. This is the cruelest administration that has ever existed, ever in the history of the United States. Speaking of horrible, horrifying cruelty, this is honestly like nightmare fuel. Immigrants that have been deported are being literally disappeared from the U.S. detainee tracking system. They're being erased. So no one knows where they are. Their families don't know where they are. Their lawyers don't know where they are. I don't even know if they know where they are. They're probably mostly in the like mass prisons that the U.S. is like sending these people to, and I don't know, paying them to detain them there. So awful. People that are in the middle of defending themselves, like they deported one of the guys that they're claiming is part of Tren de Aragua. They were talking about it. Where I think they may have been talking about it in Pod Save America today, or were they? I think so. I can't remember if it was NPR, but in any case, they were saying how this man, claimed to never have been part of that gang, had a tattoo that they were saying like this is evidence of his like gang membership, and he's like, no, I'm like literally an artist, and he was planning to defend himself. He had a lawyer. And then they just deported him with no word. Now his lawyer cannot contact him. He is not in this U.S. detainee tracking system. And his family doesn't know where he is. They treat people worse than they treat farm animals, honestly, in a lot of situations. It's honestly disgusting. And I cannot stand what America is becoming right now. But I am very grateful that Chief Justice John Roberts, U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, has rejected Trump's call to impeach the judges that are standing up to him, and literally came out and made a public statement and said that impeachment is not an appropriate response when you disagree with our judiciary system. I'm sure Trump is going to throw some huge fit about that. But honestly, like the more people that have the guts to do this, the better off we are. And by people, I mean very specifically people that have some level of power in this situation, which really is almost entirely just our judiciary system at this point. And, they're hanging on by a thread against a man who isn't listening to their orders, but I feel like if enough of them are holding the line, I don't know, it'll at least hold it off for some time. I can't say for sure that it'll save us forever, but it seems to be helping us for now. So Trump and Putin had a phone call today to discuss the ceasefire, a potential ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. It didn't go the way that Trump wanted it to, supposedly. although I don't know what I believe about Trump and Putin. I mean, I do believe that that Trump is a Russian asset. So I don't know like how much of what Trump does on the surface is really just for show in this situation. In any case, he did get Putin to supposedly agree to pause strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, but not to end the fighting. So he did not agree to not continue the war. He will just supposedly not purposely attack their energy infrastructure. So, I mean, I don't know. It sounds okay. However, speaking of ceasefires, like I don't really trust any of these countries. I certainly don't trust Russia. And obviously, I don't trust Israel either. Netanyahu is a very horrible human being. And, you know, Israel and Gaza were in a ceasefire discussing arrangements to figure out the next steps, right? We've talked about this a couple of times. Israel just wanted the rest of the hostages back so that they could continue bombing Gaza because they want to clear the space. They want to get rid of all the civilians that are there. They've made that very clear. They want to clear the space. They want to put up some Trump hotels or whatever the hell they are planning to do. In any case, Hamas wanted to have like a permanent ceasefire in order to give the hostages back that guaranteed some other things. And supposedly maybe even Hamas like not being a part of the government there anymore, but like some guaranteed protection and a two-state solution, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, Israel didn't agree to that. Last night, they broke the ceasefire without announcing anything. They killed over 400 civilians, mostly children, again. And now Netanyahu is saying that this is just the very beginning of what's to come as far as their destructive. I mean, again, their plan is to eliminate, do with that word what you will, everyone that's there. They want them out. They don't care how. I mean, I think they've made it, maybe they prefer it this way, right? It's a horrible situation. Simultaneously, I do not think, I understand that this is a hard thing for anyone in Palestine to hear, but like if Iran or someone else doesn't step in to protect them from this, like now, like yesterday, it's not safe for them to be there. I don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't know. It's a horrible situation. It has been a horrible situation from day one. But it's seeing these children murdered for like over a year now. I don't know. In any case, Israel is making it very clear what their plans are. So I would expect things to get exponentially worse again. And I don't know what the solution is. Hamas is saying that, you know, because Netanyahu keeps saying that he's trying to come up with a deal with them and that they refused. And Hamas is saying that's a lie. So again, I think it's just like Russia, right? Like Russia doesn't want a deal. Russia doesn't want to compromise at all. Russia wants what Russia wants, and they're going to keep going until they get it or they lose, basically. And it's the same situation with Israel. Like this is their plan. They want the land and they want to get rid of Palestine. They want to get rid of all of the Palestinians. And until they've done that, they're not going to stop. That's an opinion, but they seem to be making it pretty clear. The NASA astronauts are finally back. I'm sure they probably never want to go to space again, and I don't blame them. And I guess they their little vessel, it falls by like a parachute into the Gulf of Mexico. But anyways, they made it all the way back down to Earth, and that's good for them, dude. Wall Street dipped again today. The tech sector is really not doing well in general. It's not just Tesla. Like Alphabet is not doing well, which I think is Google's parent company. But Tesla's down another 5.3%. Can't say I'm sad because I'm not. I'm really happy. Again, it's a good time to be relatively poor and to not really give a shit about the stock market. Republicans, oh yeah, this is like the craziest story. I did a video on TikTok about this a minute ago. Did I even tell you guys about this? This guy, what is his name? Justin Eichhorn is a Republican in Minnesota who was trying to pass a bill that labels Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness, okay? Trump derangement syndrome is what like crazy MAGA people say to anyone who doesn't like Donald Trump. Anyone who says anything negative about Trump has Trump derangement syndrome. They want to put these people on a list as having a mental illness, I'm sure, so that they can put us all into like some kind of a camp, right? Anyways, unfortunately for Justin, his plans have been cut short by fate. He has all these commercials that are all over TikTok of him saying like that he has to work so hard at this and he drives all the way 3 hours to work at this every night because for his family's sake, because liberals are destroying families. Okay, well, that's funny, sir, because guess what? You just got arrested for trying to have sex with a 17-year-old, for soliciting sex from a 17-year-old woman who was, unfortunately for you, an undercover cop. And now you're in jail. Anyways, kind of love that story. Anytime I have a bad day, I'm going to remember that story. It's literally every single time, though. Every single time a Republican man is talking too loud, I can guarantee you he's a criminal. He's probably some kind of a like sexual deviant. He's probably participating in illegal sexual activity. And if he's not participating in illegal sexual activity, he is certainly hiding his sexuality from his family. It's just like 100% of the time. If they're screaming really loud, especially about trans people, especially about gay people, they're probably gay themselves. And there is an element of sadness in that, in some way. But again, like their cruelty, it's almost like an emotional, and it's like a violence, right? It's causing violence towards other people. And so it's hard for me to feel bad in that circumstance. Like, I'm sure that they got the way that they are, not through pleasant circumstances or some sort of trauma from their family, perhaps. But in any case, they have to have consequences. And I'm glad that he does. I'm glad he's in jail. I hope he serves time. And I hope he loses all his rank. Any rank that he has gained within our government, I hope it's taken away. And I hope his wife divorces him. And I hope his kids stop talking to him, if he has them. Speaking of more cruelty, Trump is ending Secret Service protection for Biden's children. Again, there's no other reason for this other than, I mean, of course, he probably wants them to pass away. He wants his crazy supporters to attack them. He is a very vengeful, spiteful, hateful old man. And this is how he operates. And again, you know, I know a lot of people don't understand what I mean when I say like a narcissist doesn't have a low that's too low. There isn't like a bottom of the barrel for them. Like they will go lower than you can imagine. So, you know, as long as he's here with us in this earth plane, there will be more headlines like this in the future. Okay, I promised you guys a good news story, and today I actually found one. I found a good actual news story. This is actually really wonderful news. So I'm sure most of you are aware we have a huge problem with drug addiction and overdose deaths in the United States. And it got really bad around the time that the pandemic began, and it really escalated, and there was a lot of panic. Well, U.S. overdose deaths have plummeted by a minimum of 10.6%. They're still actually collecting data from individual states, and the individual states sometimes are returning, the ones that are like returning the data the fastest, or sometimes returning overdose death, like a drop in the numbers by like 20%, 30%. So they expect that nationally it'll be at minimum 15% once all is said and done, once they have all the data back. Really exciting. This has a lot to do with, well, for one thing, government-funded programs putting a lot of money into education, into Narcan and naloxone. Narcan is for heroin overdoses, and naloxone is for fentanyl overdose, I believe. Sorry, I'm so tired. In any case, a lot of drug users that are not able to get sober quickly, at least now, have access to these drugs. Like, I've seen them being given away places for free. And there are places people can go to obtain these overdose reversal drugs. And that is incredible. Don't tell Trump, because he'll probably, if he hasn't gotten to it yet, I'm sure he'll be cutting all the funding for that as well. All the progress we've ever made just flushed down the toilet. Okay, so I just ruined that good story with my pessimism, but, I just don't want you to get too happy, because then you'll be thrown off balance. Anyways, I cannot wait to go to sleep tonight, and I still have several chores to do before I can do that. But I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Here's to hoping that the Supreme Court finds a way to overthrow the Trump administration by tomorrow. I think that's probably not going to happen, but, a girl can dream.